Okay. Okay. Cool. Yay! Hi, everyone. Well, my name's Kim Foxen, and I'm going to play some songs for you. Thanks for having me. Woo! Okay, this first one is called When Will I See You? And I wrote it with my friends, the Still Brothers, a.k.a. Evan Hines and Andrew Lacoche. Okay. You're like a honeybee to me, the sweetest nectar from the sweetest tree. Of all the places that we've run to, you have always been the place that I come home to. When will I see you? When will I see you? You're like a queen to me, so real. All the feelings that I could not feel illuminate themselves within your eyes. Oh, you're out of my control, and I am out of my mind. When will I see you? When will I see you? When will I see you? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks. This backyard is so beautiful, as you guys can all see. We love the green and love the rug. Love it all. Claps for the environment. Claps for the aesthetic. Wow. Yeah. On point. All right. So I'm going to do another original called Gold Standard. And I wrote this one during, let's see, between the months of March and July of 2020, as we were all very much indoors. So this one is called Gold Standard. Dreaming with my eyes wide open, hoping to escape the night. I don't want to miss this moment. Find me in the morning light. Trembling, my lips grow shaky. Where did all the hours go? I don't care for moonshine, baby. Just give me all your sweet Merlot. Pulling my weight with gold standard, you don't know what you're missing. Running my race with gold standard, yet I supply the loving. It is something to behold. I know a love with standard in gold. Oh, I'm dreaming with my eyes wide open, and I'm hoping to escape the night. I don't wanna miss this moment. Find me in the morning light. Trembling my lips grow shaky. Where did all the hours go? And I don't care for moonshine, baby. Just give me all your sweet Merlot. Pulling my weight with gold standard, you don't know what you're missing. Running my race with gold standard, yet I supply the loving. It is something to behold. I know love with standard in gold. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Is that out?
That is not.
Viewers are getting a special treat.
This is, yes, this is a treat. Well, I made a demo of this song with Evan Hines and his brother, Brian, who's also a really sick producer. Yeah, and they helped me kind of like flesh this song out in their childhood basement. They have like so much equipment and just like the works. So yeah, so I have like a demo of this song where I'm playing guitar and singing and doing like all the background vocals, and Brian is doing his like drum machine, and Evan is playing bass, and I think they added some other stuff. So I have a demo of this song. It just has not like, been released, but working on stepping that game up. So, but yeah, cool. Thank you. I'm going to do a cover now. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this song is by a lady. Her name is Adrianne Lenker. She is the lead singer. I feel like she's most well known as being the lead singer for this band Big Thief. And yeah, I like them a lot. But before that band happened, she did a lot of solo stuff, and she released a few like EPs of her solo works, and this is one of her songs that I listen to incessantly, and it's called New York City. So yeah. Sorry if my guitar's a little out of tune. It's just comes with the package deal. Okay, so yeah, this is called New York City by Adrianne Lenker. Nope, okay. New York City gripped me like a big old machine. I went into one side and landed in a dream. It stirred me up and made me shout. And sometimes I forgot about the way the wind blows in and out of a cottonwood tree. And oh, it's easy to lose your mind. I might have lost mine if I hadn't found you. The avenues, the boulevards, businesses and schoolyards, shopping malls and motor cars, all in one scene. The lowest lows and the highest highs, the meanest noise and the lullabies, the poison and the compromise, the unspoken scream. And oh, it's so hard to find your place. I'd never have found mine had I not seen your face. And you can be my buzz to keep, and I'll be blossom, dearie. We can see the world so clearly. We'll color the gray away, and I will sing you songs all day. The decay will just turn to blue as we look at that good old-fashioned moon. Thank you. Thanks. Good song, right? It's a good, fall seasonal song. I feel like it gets you in that mood, the cozy mood. Yeah. Cool.
Can't imagine the original being better.
It kind of is. It's also in a hierarchy because she's got a really cool, really unique sounding voice, and she just like her voice is so, her range is so high, and it just sounds like she's floating on a cloud when she's singing. So I have to really take all of her songs down, at least a minor third, but it's fine. Yeah.
More songs.
Should I do one more?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I haven't done a lot of original music things, as you can probably tell, so I'm kind of nervous, but thanks. Thank you guys for having me.
We're the price of admission.
Okay, this song is an original. It's called Rose-Colored Glasses, and I think it's the easiest song that I've ever had to write. Normally it takes me so long to come up with a final draft of lyrics and a good melody, but this song just kind of happened in an hour, and that never happens to me. It just was I was just in this flow state of being present in the moment and being in the flow of my creativity, and yeah, this song came out. So it's also an unreleased song, and so hopefully soon, stay tuned. But yeah, it's called Rose-Colored Glasses. Just gonna figure out where I'm gonna sing this. Maybe I'll do it here. Actually, no, I'll do it here. Okay. Here we go. Nope. Okay. My rose-colored glasses Paint me a shade of beauty and wonder with every gaze. But now time has passed and I see the truth. The colors have changed. All I see is blue. Like rain, my tears fall and can't be stopped. The cold wind brushes my head as it drops. I'm weary again as the sun starts to fade. So I'll try to remember at least for today. My rose-colored glasses, I won't take them off. Even when my body aches and tears begin to fall. My rose-colored glasses are foggy again, with melodies that constantly fill up inside my head. Ooh, 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 Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Cool. What is it? Yeah, this was a good like mistake. Not that this was a mistake, but like didn't think it would happen. Cool.
That was great.
Thank you. All right, cool.
Sweet. So, episode 2 of Homeward Sounds.
Hey, what's up?
Welcoming Kim Foxen, the one and only.
Thanks. Should I be?
Yeah, I guess we'll a little bit closer. Kim, thanks for being here. First off, that was a beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So enjoyable.
Thank you.
So Kim, tell us, the viewers, etc., about, in so many words, like your musical journey, how you got started, how you got here today.
Yeah.
All those things.
Uber. And
Shake. Shout out.
Shout out to. Actually, no, it was Lyft, not Uber.
Oh.
Sorry. But yeah, so I guess, wow, that's a good question. It's a really good question.
You can just touch on pieces of it. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, you guys knew me in high school. These are
Right.
my high school buddies, classmates. What's up?
Go Trojans.
GCHS, seniors 10. But yeah, music was definitely always just a huge, huge part of my life. Like 99%, I would say, growing up, like from middle school on. And I feel like, I was just in high school, like always doing the musicals and like in every choir that was offered in our class schedules. And yeah, just like really fell in love with singing and music, and like fell in love with the community of like musician friends, also like collaborating with people. I just made so many of my deepest and closest friendships like through music. And so it was just kind of a all signs pointing to music for my journey of life. And and so then I went to college for music, and I majored in vocal performance at Manhattan School of Music, doing like mainly opera and like classical voice. And then I transferred to the new school where I graduated from, and I did more like jazz and contemporary kind of voice. And yeah, ever since then, I've just been like kind of moving and grooving through New York, as we all are, just trying to play those gigs. And I've been like writing. I guess over the years, I had a project. I still have a project with Mel Johnston. Mel, love
Shout
her.
out.
Shout out to Mel. What's up?
Just a slight.
Shout out to the plane. Oh,
Here we go.
helicopter.
In time, that's totally normal. Anyway.
So we have a band, the Foxy Johnstons, and we still have that band, but are taking a break from it and like both doing our own sort of paths.
Amazing album on Spotify. Just gotta plug it. Check them out.
Recorded at Hive Mind Recording Studios with Billy Oxtick and a great band. And so I've done a lot of my original songs with her, doing that project, and then we kind of like peeled off and are doing like solo things now. And so I've been just kind of writing my own tunes and working a lot with Evan Hines and Andrew Lacoche, aka the Still Brothers. Shout out. So just kind of like gigging a lot and working with a lot of friends and working on my own music. Just kind of like a hodgepodge of what we're all doing.
A mosaic.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
Kinda
I know,
like this rug.
yes, exactly, pan to the rug. I know when you're starting out, it's oftentimes like you imitate or emulate other musicians and whatnot, and like finding your own style, maybe take bits and pieces of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said you had gone eventually to like focus a bit more on jazz later on, but like starting out, talk about like your musical influences, some songs or bands, albums that influenced you, and maybe like how that's changed, if at all.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when I went to the new school, I listened to a lot of jazz, going there and just like being forced to listen to it all the time, like for like homework purposes, like transcribing bebop solos and like learning standards of like, and learning the repertoire of like jazz singers like Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and Billie Holiday, and just like being really well versed in like that whole genre of music. I was really forced to just really like absorb that style, and I'm so grateful that I was, because jazz is dope, and like and it has inspired me in my singing style in so many ways. And I think it's easy, like, as a jazz, what's up? I think it's easy as a jazz singer to, like, mimic, like, singers from the past, because it's such a, like, specific kind of sound and specific way of singing. And, like, in specific way of, like, interpreting a song and lyric, where it was really easy for me to, like, listen to a jazz singer and then like mimic them. But I feel like in doing that, I kind of like morphed through that and kind of found my own voice, because I also am inspired by a lot of old time soul music and soul singers and like R&B and a lot of folk as well. So I don't know, I just feel like my voice has stayed the same, but also like changed a lot, just based on like, you know, what I am inspired by and what I listen to, and also just like life experience too, right? Like emotionally, I feel like when people go through things, like, totally. Yeah, it can change, like the way you play any instrument or the way you sing. It just like, you hear a different kind of depth to what you're doing. So yeah, so I just feel like I grab from like a lot of different kinds of music and just like different experiences,
Yeah.
and I do feel I feel really like at home with my voice, which is like took a while for me to say. So it's
Yeah.
like a good feeling.
So we'll go into that. So
Yeah.
like developing your own voice, which is a lifelong endeavor.
Yes, ongoing. It will never end.
Nope,
I
which
don't
is the
think so.
point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yep,
It's not supposed
that's
to
the draw.
supposed to end. And I guess that's like, inevitably tied to writing solo versus with others versus that whole thing. Like at first, writing seems like just scribbling down random things, and then you sort of hone in on that or whatever. And
Yeah.
I guess talk a bit about that, finding your voice, your creative process, any weird rituals.
Yeah, not yet. Like, I'm sure there are, but I haven't
Sure.
recognized them yet. But I'm sure they
They're not
exist.
weird to you. They're just no. That's fair.
But yeah, I feel like I feel good about collaborating with like certain people that I'm really comfortable with, but it does I feel like it takes a lot for me to like get comfortable with someone when I'm writing, because I already feel so critical of myself when I'm alone writing. So it's like when I'm with someone else, I'm like, oh, I really suck. But I think it's a really good challenge to like collaborate, and it's very inspiring too, because you learn about someone else's creative process and like how they move through like something that's challenging, and like how they find like an answer to a question that arises in writing music. Like just watching someone else go through that, I feel like is inspiring. But yeah, I guess my creative process, it's very like spontaneous, I feel like, which can be a good and like bad thing. I was talking with Topher before, like I feel like I've been depending on that like spontaneous, like inspiring moment to like come upon me when I'm like, okay, I'm ready to write a song. Whereas I really want to get better at like carving out time every week to create and just like kind of almost force myself to produce work and produce songs, because I just feel like that's how you are going to grow. The more you write songs,
Absolutely.
the more you produce work. Like that's where you find the inspiration, and like that's where you can grow, because that's where you'll find like the most challenges is when you're like rejecting yourself, but like just going through it anyway, like going through that muck and like hardship of the creative process, I feel like is very important. So yeah, I'm trying to do more of that, where I like just whenever I have free time, I just like want to sit down and be present to like what's coming up for me and just like try to write. But it's really hard. I find that writing in the morning is the best time to write, because when you wake up, your mind is like just totally clear and like
Clay,
absolved
totally.
from any like social media. Like you haven't talked to anyone yet.
Right.
It's just like, it's the best time, I think, for the mind to be creative.
The day hasn't like weighed in on you yet.
Exactly.
You were just I know what you mean.
Like you're not as judgmental
Yeah.
at that time. So yeah, I feel like that's like a ritual I'm trying to adopt more. But I was really good about writing songs during COVID, because I moved back home to my parents' house in Garden City, and I had set up just like a nook in my childhood bedroom, like a little recording studio, and Evan Hines lent me his 4-track Tascam tape machine.
Nice.
And like kind of showed me how to use it. And my dad had these old Bose bookshelf speakers that were stored in our basement that like he hadn't used in years. And I found them and I was like, we're gonna hook this up. And he was like, here's the receiver. And he was like, he just like, how like in the 90s, like people would buy, when they bought like their recording sound systems, it would be like the speakers and the receiver. It would be like this whole setup, and
yeah.
you would have like the glass cabinet of like 5 machines and like the speakers. So like that's what he used to have, and I found it and I was like, we got to find a way to hook this up.
He's getting all excited.
So he's like, all right, project, yes, like let's do it. So it was a really fun like father-daughter moment of hooking that up. Yeah, so that's how I recorded a lot of my demos of a lot of the songs I did today, through the tape machine and just like using those speakers. And I did get Logic, so I like learned a little bit of that trade, which is still I'm not great at, but it's
takes time, just keep trucking away.
Yep, keep just like turning the knobs
on
the computer.
Sound good yet?
Turning the digital knobs.
Yeah, turn the digital knobs. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was pretty easy to like get creative during that because I just was cooped up and had nothing to do, and I was like, all right, this is a good time to write songs. So
yeah, and you talk about like a ritual. I know like myself, it's hard to ignore the bursts of inspiration because it's so like you're so high with it, and it's like it comes and it's just like who knows where it's coming from, and then it's there, and you're like, oh, I gotta feed that like while it's hot.
Like I can't stop.
Totally.
Yes.
So there's that can't be ignored, but at the same time, like the carving out time is so, especially like with certain regularity.
Yeah.
It seems it's so important because like I've heard of it described in many ways, like like a faucet that has to like get out all like the dirty water before you can clean water, or like a radio antenna even. Like you got to like tune into it because if your antenna is not like aligned, you're never gonna get anything.
Yeah.
So you got to like just sit down and like make the time. People call it the muse. Like that's the only way you're gonna get sort of like visited by that thing. You gotta like put in the work.
Yeah, and, like you have to show up for it. You can't. You're not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna come to you if you're not there and no one's home.
There's a lesson there when you like try to when you're not feeling it and you sit down and like trudge through it anyway. And at the end, you're usually most often like, oh, you know what? I feel a bit better. Like this isn't I'm like getting there. So it's an interesting sort of like duality.
For sure. Yes, it's like like even the days where I made a song and it like I didn't like it at the end of the day, at least like I just like got it out of my system. And I it's like not letting like thoughts fester, right? If you just like write it down on paper, like tell someone that you're upset with them, like it's like it's good to like not let things get lost in your mind and like let them fester. I think it's good to just like get out any sort of any expression. It's like really healthy.
Speaking of like the perceived like negative, so to speak, I know one of the things I wanted to ask you about, like one thing I like to ask people is like a supposed, for lack of a better word, failure or like perceived failure or like maybe something musically that didn't go your way or something you learned from unexpectedly,
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I guess if we're like going back like to early days, I feel like a failure that a lot of us shared is like, in high school, and we like don't get on certain teams or like make certain, like in my case, like, make auditions, like don't get passed through auditions. And I feel like the first time I experienced like true failure in my life and had to like kind of go through that emotion was when I was applying for colleges. And, I was kind of coming from a place in high school where I was, in a lot of choirs and like I didn't experience a lot of rejection. And so I just like had this confidence built up, which was really great. But, when you're applying to colleges, it's like everyone's really great. So it definitely, I applied to like, I did like 12 college auditions to different music schools. And I think I got into like only like 50%. And so I had to experience like being rejected to like 6 schools.
Which isn't even that bad. I mean, half is...
Yeah, like looking back, I'm like, I'll take it. But in the moment, I was like, just when you really believe in yourself, it's like, oh my God, like someone heard me and like didn't believe in me. Like that's so heartbreaking.
Right.
And I just remember kind of experiencing, actually, I have a really vivid memory of this school. It was actually my top school. I really wanted to go to Cincinnati Conservatory of Music in Ohio. They have a really amazing conservatory. And I auditioned, and I remember receiving a letter, because, that I feel like we were still in, like, physical snail mail mode.
Very
like,
much.
with college and stuff.
Be able to
back
hold it.
then, yeah. So I remember getting a letter from them, opening it. I was on my bedroom floor, and like just like crying. Oh, I was so upset. My mom came in and I was just like, I had never really experienced like that kind of rejection before, and it was so sad. But I don't know, I think it just taught me to like keep going, like not to be cliche, but you just like, you can't just give up on yourself when other people do, you know, because that's gonna be life. Like,
yeah, you're the only one in your corner, like all the way.
Yeah.
You gotta, for sure.
You just have to keep going. And so I think I just did. And it helped to have a support system. I feel like a lot of people were, you know, I had a really supportive family and like friends and, you know, that really helped. But yeah, I feel like, so that was definitely like the first kind of like perceived failure that I experienced as a musician.
Right. One thing that's sort of like baked into this, I was stalking your Spotify, and you had
my Spotify.
I think it was your Spotify or somebody, maybe the Foxy Johnsons or something like that. But you had a quote about vulnerability on there.
Oh yeah.
Which is, if it's when there's less vulnerability, there's less pain, but there's also less love.
Yes.
That was a beautiful quote. I read that, and
I'm so glad you saw that.
Absolutely, and like I was like, I gotta bring this up, and this sort of is related to, you know, everything we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So what, you know, I guess say a word about that quote.
Yeah, I've always been so afraid to be vulnerable in life, as we all are. It's like it's so scary to be, like, just put yourself out there and be really honest to yourself, because because you could face something that you don't like. Like, we all have flaws and we're all imperfect humans, and it's scary to just like reckon with that. And so I feel like I've tried to adopt this mindset of just being vulnerable to myself and then in turn to other people. And I think the only way to do that is to share, you know, whatever you're passionate about. And it's really hard because you risk being rejected or not liked, which is just like so hard. But it's but I think the trade-off is, if you're not vulnerable and if you don't share, you don't experience like true deep sense of like love and, you know, shared love. And like, if you don't share what you're passionate about, like you could avoid the pain of being rejected and failing, but then you also miss out on a connection with someone else.
Right, absolutely.
And like that, you know, so it's like you have to weigh that pro and con, I guess.
Because otherwise you're just like hanging out in the middle, and it's like safe, but no really highs and lows. You're just sort of just like coasting.
Yes.
It's not very deep.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't experience Actually, I was so another huge inspiration of mine is Lauryn Hill. She's a big inspiration to me, and there's this speech that she gives to like a university or like a high school. It's on YouTube and it's like an hour long, but every word is just like the weight of gold that she says. It's just like,
gotta check it out.
It's pure, inspiring.
You got a link in in somewhere.
I will.
We'll link the link.
I'm gonna link this up.
Yeah.
But she talks about how this idea of like people trying to like find success in any creative outlet, but like in talking about music, like in music, like finding success, like trying to climb to the peak of a mountain, and you know, how people perceive the peak, like the valleys and the peaks as like failure, success. But how she speaks about it, it's like learning mastership, and you can't, it's impossible to like just stay, like when people make it to, how she says it, when people make it to the top of a mountain, like, they just want to stay there and just be like, I'm forever a master. But you have to go down and learn something new to then master something new. It's like, and just the way she talks about it is so, like, mind-boggling and, like, eye-opening and inspiring, because I just feel like that's such a great way to look at creating and, like, songwriting, because you can't just stay high on top of everything forever. Like, you have to come down from the peak you're on. And so I'm just grateful to, like, wanting to learn and grow and just, like, I'm cool with being in the valleys, you know?
Totally.
That's when the soul
in the valleys.
searching
That's the name
really
of something.
happens. Yeah, right?
For real.
Sideways Paving Co. X Kim Foxen EP coming soon in the valleys.
Oh, it's on.
Watch
Manifest.
out. Manifest.
Awesome. Oh, man, it's been great. I'm going to see if I have anything else that I feel like there was cool.
Yeah.
Give us one thing unexpected maybe that you're into outside of music. I always like to hear what people say about
snap,
that.
crackle, pop. What am I into with music?
Any, like, weird non-musical related thing in your life that, like, it could be however big, small, seemingly insignificant? She's like, music, that's done, full stop.
Gosh, music. I really, oh God, let me think of this. I guess I really love, like, I want to be like cooking, but it's like not true. I love cooking, but it's not like a passion. Like, I really love, I love watching Gilmore Girls. This is so sad that that's my answer. Oh my God. Gilmore Girls is a passion.
That's beautiful.
Okay, well, yeah, jokes aside. Well, I have gotten into, like, running lately.
Cool.
That's another, like, sure, okay, Kim, running. But, like, I have gotten into running lately and, like, riding my bike. I just did a triathlon recently with my dad.
Oh, wow.
We did the Town of Hempstead triathlon out in Point Lookout, which was really fun. Yeah.
That's my pants right now, Point Lookout.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Full time?
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Wow.
That's
I gotta
really
catch
cool.
you on the next triathlon.
Yo, dude. Yeah.
Damn.
Every year I'm going to try to do it.
That's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. So I really like, I feel like I like competing in races. Like, that's just something that's, like, just feels really, like, big and, like, cinematic. And it's really fun, like, everyone doing a race. And I really want to try to work towards doing, like, a half marathon. That's something I'm trying to
That's
do.
cool. That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
cool to have, like, something there to aim for. Mm-hmm. And I've often thought about, like, when you are growing up, you don't think about it at the time, but there's so much opportunity for competition, like in, you know, whether it be teams or this or that. And then you get out of, like, college or high school or whatever, and then, like, you have to seek out whether it be, like, intramural sports or, like, stuff like that. Like, the whole competition, obviously, besides, like, your career or whatever. But in terms of, you know, like, small scale, like, low stakes competition, I think there's something great there in terms of, like, running or even competing against, like, yourself in that way. It's, like, a cool part of life that it's, like, harder to come by, I feel like, maybe later on.
Right. And I feel like I kind of missed out on, like, childhood, like, sports. I definitely, like, did sports, but I wasn't, like, all about it as, like, so many people were that we know. It's like, you know, I was always doing music and not so much, like, the athletics. But I don't know, I feel like later in life, I'm, like, really hungry for that. I'm like, I want to compete and, like, race and be, like buy running shoes and just, like, go for it. I don't know. I'm kind of, so I'm, like, kind of into that. And, like, what else? What the fuck else do I do at home? I just, like...
Running is great.
Yeah, just kind of running and
solid.
Just chilling. I like to drink beer. I like craft beer.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
Do it.
We got to get a sponsor for this.
Yeah, I know.
That's for beer.
Who wants to sponsor us?
Anybody?
Is there a brewery
message.
in Astoria around you guys?
There must be that.
There has to be.
Oh, the beer garden. I don't know. I guess they brew their own beer, right?
Yes.
Anyway, we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that's all we got. Let people know what do you got in the works. What are you working on? Where can they find you? All of those last pluggy things.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I just at the end of May, I released a single with the Still Brothers called "When Will I See You." So that's out on Spotify. You could find that under either my name, Kim Foxen, or the Still Brothers. I'm gonna be hopefully like releasing more stuff with the Still Brothers soon in the future, and then also working on my own original music. I hope to like release an EP or like
Cool.
just some sort of work of like, songs of mine. Hopefully sometime soon. It's been like over a year.
You know what? It's not
so I gotta just get on that.
Take your time.
And,
we got a little taste today. We're excited.
Yep.
People are
This
getting
was a tasting menu
Yep.
of Kim's songs, a little beer flight, if you will.
Yes.
You got your dark, your light, your hoppy, wheat, sour. Anyway, yeah. So
Cool.
it's my vibe.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming. This
Thank
has been
you
a
so
lot of
much for
fun.
having me.
This is great.
This is really, really cool. Thank you. Thanks
Sweet.
for
Thanks for
everything.
tuning in. Homeward Sounds. We'll see you next time.